What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be making an F7 guide for my boy on TikTok. I'm going to be going over what I'd recommend as long as like armor sets and equipment and how to actually easily survive. I'm also going to go over the easiest way to survive and how to complete it for a new player and how I survived on Ironman. I'm also going to go over the boss fight and all its stages and make it as simple as possible and easy to understand. And without further ado, I'm going to get into it. The first thing I want to go over is all the items you're going to need. I separated it by optional, the things you're going to need for the boss fight, and what you're going to need for the dungeon. The only optional is a Jerry Shin gun. I don't know why everyone says you need it. I never use it in my run. It's not that big of a deal. I always just use the Bonzo staff for getting the crystals and just moving around in general. So I definitely just get a Bonzo staff, get a Bonzo mask to help you survive, Wither Cloak to help you survive the lava, and a Wand of Atonement just for healing. Ender Pearls for trap, Dungeon Break for secrets, Super Boom and Leaps for obviously secrets and getting around, and an AOTV with Ether Warp to just increase your secret rates, and that's really it. The armor sets are really simple and based off your class. Archer, Burrs, and Healer should all play Necrons, Mage should go Storm, and Tank should go Goldor. As far as your pets, if you're playing Mage, you'd want a Sheep, Tank would want a Blue Whale or a Turtle, and then any other class would really just want a Golden Dragon, Griffin, Tiger, any really combat pet that can give you a lot of damage would be really useful here. For people on Ironman or maybe that don't have an F7 completion yet, I would get full frag Shadow Assassin. That's how I got into it on my Ironman. I'm going to go into that more later, but you should be able to survive on Shadow Assassin or maybe even Frozen Blaze. Alright, for the items I recommend, you could obviously go with the Hype, Claymore, or Term, but Claymore obviously needs an M7 completion. You could go with the Giant Sword or a Midas Staff. These will obviously get to the floor really easily. Going down, we have a Juju Bow and a Spirit Scepter. These will probably get you through the floor. I just want to make sure you have one tab before you start consistently running it. But this is really all you should need. Just get whatever you can afford, and yeah. Lastly, I want to go over the equipment. If you're playing anything other than Mage, I would go Soul Weaver Gloves, Adaptive Belt, Shadow Assassin Cloak, and a Bone Necklace. If you're playing Mage, I would go Balloon Snake, Shadow Assassin Cloak, Implosion Belt, and Gauntlet of Contagion. Quickly, I want to say, if you guys find this guide helpful at all, I spent a lot of coins to make this, so please like and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. But I think that's everything. Let's start getting into the boss fight. I'm sure most of you guys know the boss fight is split into 4 different sections, with the first one being Maxor. I'm going to go over all the sections independently because I feel like that's the easiest way to explain it. Once you enter Blood, you're immediately faced with Maxor. Now there's 3 things you want to focus on here. We got the 2 crystals up top, and we have the conveyor belt down beneath. In the middle of the conveyor belt, there's supposed to be a beacon laser, but you can't see it on replay mod for some reason. Actually getting into the run. Assuming you're in a good party, the tank will grab Maxor and take him to the laser, waiting for it to charge up. While the tank's doing that, 2 people need to grab the crystals up top and put them on the pads to charge up the laser. This is why the Bonzo staff is important to help grab the crystals. I honestly have no idea how the guy just jumped up there. But you need to grab these crystals 4 times per run, 2 each, and then you'll be able to kill Maxor. Watch how much damage you do to Maxor after the laser charges up because your tank might die if he becomes enraged. Once you kill him, the floor will open up, allowing you to drop down. Now you're in the storm phase. Dropping down, if you're a lower kata, I'd recommend Wither Cloaking because there's going to be a ton of Wither Skeletons that spawn. Now to kill Storm, you're going to have to crush him under these pillars. You can lower the pillar by standing on the pad corresponding to the pillar. Be careful though, because if you crush one of your teammates, they'll die. Getting back to the fight, before you can fight Storm, he's going to do a charged up attack. You're going to see a countdown of 4 seconds on your screen. You have to stand under a pillar or you can Wither Cloak. There's going to be a huge thunderstorm, and if you don't, it'll kill you. Once that's done, you're able to start fighting Storm and start taking him to a pillar. We did purple and yellow here because it's a little bit faster, but most lower kata parties do green and yellow. It's pretty much the same thing, just get him under the pad and try to kill him. Once he dies, the red pillar will crash down and open up the 3rd floor. Now we're moving on to Goldor. If you run down the path, you'll see these command blocks. These are terminals. Each terminal has its own little mission. I would highly recommend getting a solver for them. Mine wasn't working, so I just had to do them by hand. But you gotta do all these and the device. The device is just like any other terminal except it's on the wall. They're usually done by the healer, and each section has its own terminal, the first one being Simon Says. Once everything's finished, the gate will open and you'll move on to the next room. While you're doing this, Goldor is slowly catching up behind you, but it's not really much to worry about. You gotta do this 4 total times before you're able to move on and kill Goldor. You'll know you're at the end when you see this gold pad in the middle. Once every terminal is complete, the golden door on the side will open. Once every player is inside the room, Goldor will speed up and become damageable and allow you to kill him. Once you kill Goldor, you'll get sucked through the floor into the fourth phase, which is Nekron. The entire Nekron fight is just a damage test to see how fast you can kill him. Normally the floor breaks and you fall into lava, but my party was up with some shady stuff and that never happened. But like I said before, just deal as much damage as possible, and that's pretty much the entire fight. If you're new to the floor or you're on Ironman, I'd recommend just selecting healer and then using your healing circle and just sitting in the corner. But that's really all I have for today. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. I have a new Iron Man video about to come out. We're about to get the drill. And that's all I got. Have a good one.